you're a fraud, you're an actor, I've never been in a relationship, what are you doing, you fool?
Welcome to a very special bonus episode of Behind the Edit. I'm Lachlan, Guertin.
And I'm Tahlia, Pritchard, and we are joined today by someone from this season of MAFS, which is very exciting.
Our very first 2024 participant on the podcast, none other than Collins Christian.
He had a bit of a controversial edit and he wants to tell his side of the story, so let's get straight into it.
Thanks for joining us today, Collins.
Thanks so much for having me, honestly. This is a cool set. This is really, really cool.
Well, you're fresh from the set of Mind Made Up at First Sight.
Oh.
Which is my favourite line from any
killing
series
me.
of MAFS so far.
Stop.
So good. If we talk generally, how
Yeah.
are you feeling about what was played on air?
Yeah, look, if we're being honest, I've taken an absolute beating. It's probably since the wedding episode to now. It's been tough, but at the same time, you know, watching it gives you a whole different perspective. And if I didn't know who I was, to be totally honest, if I didn't know who I was and I'm watching Collins for the first time, just like all of you are, and then I see the comments, I can't fault what you guys have said. You know, I really do come across as dismissive, fake, just completely an absolute bozo in every way, sense and form. So, yeah, no, I can't fault the reactions, but it's just tough to watch because you know who you are. But when you watch hours and hours of footage of something that you know is not you, it almost questions who you are. You look in the mirror and be like, wait, am I so far off who I think I am? Is that the real me? But no, that's not me for sure. And I guess that's why we're here, just to give my side.
Yeah, for sure. Were you a fan of the show before being on it? Had you watched previous seasons and kind of got a vibe of what to expect?
I knew of MAFS. I mean, let's be honest, MAFS is everywhere,
Yeah.
right? You could be on the biggest rock, you know of MAFS. So
Yeah.
I knew what I was getting myself into, but it does surprise you how much you are really getting yourself into. I knew I was prepared, but it's still like, whoa, this is hectic for sure. And again, whilst I might even mention this, I know people have said, oh, you're an actor, you know, we saw your audition last year. Yeah, I'll come out and say right now, I've been approached for MAFS 3 times, and this was the one where I went all the way.
Was it consecutive seasons?
3 years in a row.
Okay,
Yeah.
wow.
Oh, and you were approached, so you didn't
Approached.
apply.
So
Yeah.
I've never applied to MAFS. No, I applied. I've been approached to it for a few reality series. It's this one where it made it to the very end.
What were the other shows that you were approached for?
It first started back in 2021 where there was this American and Australian speed dating show. And that's when I put my hat in the ring because I thought, oh, that's cool. And then I can only assume what had happened was there was a lot of success and then COVID hit where they simply said, we can't do it anymore. So then I can only assume there's a database or something where they keep a short list of names. I don't know. You guys know more than me. And then what happened was I'll just get a call saying, hey, there's this other show. MAFS contacted and yeah, here we are.
Wow. Okay, so you've been approached 3 times.
Been approached for MAFS 3
Third
times. Yeah.
time you accepted. Second time you accepted
I
as
accepted
well.
all of them.
What happened
But
the
third
first time?
lucky.
Yeah.
So first time I got pretty far and then you guys know it's a hectic process, you know. First time got pretty far and then didn't make it to the very end. Last year made it to the very end where I've gotten the call saying, pack your things, we've found your wife,
Wow.
It's time to go. And then, yeah, a week before I get told, look, Collins, unfortunately, your wife has pulled out. Now that I know what, in terms of the industry, she could have pulled out or who knows, you just
Okay,
don't
yeah.
know. So then
Wow.
this year, I moved to Sydney because my time in WA was done. And then literally 2 or 3 weeks into moving to Sydney, hey, Collins, how are you? Married at first sight, hey, we're wanting to know. So I was really reluctant because I said, I can't be screwed around like that again. I quit my job for all of that and I can't be screwed.
Yeah.
But, you know, they always say we can't give certainty, but we're really hopeful that it'll go all the way. And here we are, yeah. It was a really quick process. You know, what they do is they say, all right, send us a form of everything that you want in a girl and stuff like that. Before I had even sent in what I fully wanted, I got the call saying, hey, Collins, we found you the one.
Oh.
Wow.
So it was just, oh, okay, here we go. You know,
Yeah,
I've got to
you're
find out. It's pure curiosity. So this probably leads on to maybe a question. Sorry, I'm jumping the gun where they say, you're a fraud, you're an actor. I've never been in a relationship. What are you doing, you fool? It's like, no, it's pure curiosity for myself. Where if I get the call saying we found you the one, I have to give it a go. I have to find out. And yeah, so that's kind of the beginning.
Yeah.
So I guess jumping to your time on the show.
Yeah.
Watching you on screen, it kind of looked like you really struggled to.
No, it was so tough to watch. It was so tough.
I can imagine. It looked like you struggled to kind of answer the questions from producers when they were showing different snippets of you from the wedding and the honeymoon and kind of saying one thing but then backtracking.
Yeah.
What was going through your head at the time? Did you know, like, when you... Obviously, it's a stressful process to be in, and we can understand that. But what... Were you just really conscious of the cameras on you? Do you feel like you're being your authentic self? Like, what was happening?
Yes, it's funny you mention that, right? Because I remember on the wedding day, there's a lot going on. You know, what a day, because it really, truly was. But, yeah, for sure, there's no training. The best way I can give it is there's no training wheels to it. It's... 1 second you are no one, and then the next second, bang, you're on MAFS. So then every time they ask you a question, none of the questions I can really give are yes or no questions. So anytime they would want just a yes or no, as you saw, I waffled completely in the beginning. Actually, no, the whole way through at times because I wanted to really give context, and that's something that reality TV kind of dismisses context at all.
Yeah.
It's just what you say and how we look, that is you. So yeah, at times I thought I concealed it a little bit better, but no, not quite. I think it was fair to say Nat, she really was all in. And the best example I can give is, I think a lot of the MAFS cast, it's two ways you look at it. It's you're married and now this is your soulmate and you got to do everything. Or there's I'm married, but I'm still married to a stranger. Let's take a step back and I want to get to know you. I don't even know your last name type of thing. So I definitely had the whole, I'm happy I'm married to you, but we're still strangers. Yeah, for sure. So on the wedding day, she was all over it. She was having the element. And at times I just felt like, oh man. And then when they ask the questions, a lot of times in the beginning, I'm thinking, I don't just want to come across as harsh. But then what happens is, again, from a viewer's point of view, it's just, mate, answer a question, you know? Oh, it was tough. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It's hectic.
Yeah. So how much time would you say you and Natalie spent together off camera when you're not being filmed and you're kind of hanging out?
As I said, and fast went to the couch where I said to John, look, it's the whole way through, I can only string two or three days together when Nat has been present, ready to do MAFS. But then what would happen is, unfortunately, she got really, really homesick. And then there would be multiple times where off camera, her and I would be sitting down and she would just start to cry saying, I miss my dad. I miss my family. I want to go home. So now it was really tough because I'm trying to be supportive as I can with the little that I know. I'm not sitting here at all saying, I know what to do. No, I sucked. It's not the way I put it. I absolutely sucked. And I knew that, but I just tried. And I was trying to show support. But at the end of the day, and maybe I should have told Nat, but I didn't know what to do. I'm a stranger of 4 days, 5 days, and I just can't give you the support and care your family of 32 years gives. So every time she was really struggling with homesickness, I would message the producer saying, guys, she is struggling. And I will say, as much as the producers do take a beating of, this edit, this, I will say they picked it up really early that she was struggling and they did everything possible for her to stay. But that's the really tough one to watch, where I know at times where what Nat said, I'm thinking, no, that's not what happened. But it became very clear that every time she was crying about homesickness, which was a lot, they kind of just took her tears and put it to me. So, and it was, as I said, 2 or 3 days together, and then Nat would need some time off. That's why I can see where I really do come across like an actor, you know? As soon as the director says, and showtime, it's, here we go, let's do this, because I didn't really know what to do or react at times where Nat's really struggling behind the cameras. There were days and days where we did not do filming because producers just said, enough, Nat needs some time off. But then as soon as you're mic'd up, it's go time. And I'm just like, all right, dinner party. But Nat's still really emotional, so...
Yeah. So do you feel like because you could have those breaks and obviously she was going through something else and you were there for the experience, like you could kind of feel more ready for the cameras and like switch it on when it was like time to go to the dinner party or whatever it may be.
Yeah, for sure. But at the same time, that's probably where my issue was, where it was, all right, the camera's on, it's switch on time, where, because again, it's a dinner party. I just wanted to, I'm seeing the people for the first time. I'm having, that's my jam. You know, I love being around the people. And that's where it's totally on me, where, you know, I can't sit here and say the edit. I'm trying to get to know the people, and my wife is right next to me crying. So I dropped the ball on that one. The ball is a big ball. I absolutely fumbled that one for sure.
At what point throughout that experience then do you think, okay, I don't think this is going to end well. I don't think Natalie is the one for me? Or the whole time are you thinking, okay, we can make this work?
It's weird because every other couple you see, and the reception has been, well, it's week 1. It's slow burn is fine. But with us, it was, how, you know, it's week 1, mate. Come on, you should be perfect. You should give everything she needs and wants. So, for example, the bit where after the wedding day, where I sat down with Nat and I said, Nat, I'm invested in this. I just need to take a step back. Seeing her tears for the first time, that I did not know that actually happened. So it was tough to watch. But please, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not using this as a defense, but I would like to think this is day 2 of MAFS. I'm sorry I didn't sleep in the same bed as you. I didn't mean to make you emotional, but it's day 2. You are 2-day stranger. In 2 days' time, I'll know you 2 more than I've known Nat in that experience.
Yeah. Do you think that's why you wanted to stay at least for another week? Obviously, Natalie wrote leave at the commitment ceremony and you wanted to stay. Did you think there's still a chance you guys would be able to bond?
I think so, for sure. It was really, really tough. So going back to your question, I knew in my head, not so much about if we're going to work or not. It's more so, is Nat mentally able to do this experiment? Because, if I may, what had actually happened on our wedding day, all right? This is the truth. All the other couples, they got married. They met, married, reception, limo, good night. What happened with us, right, is we got married. And then, you know, there's a lot of break times. During our break, I remember I'm walking past and I hear this lady absolutely bawling her eyes out. Crying. And I'm thinking, okay, who's that? And I look over and it's Nat absolutely crying beyond compare. It's really tough to watch. But again, this is still day 1. This is hour 8, hour 10. So the producers pull me aside and say, look, Collins, we just need you to go away for a little bit, you know. Stay with us. Nat's just right now. We need to spend some time with Nat. No worries. Again, that's fine. Do what you got to do. After a little bit of waiting, the producers come up to me and say, look, unfortunately, Nat's still really, really uncontrollably breaking down. We actually are going to bring her family back to the wedding from their reception just so she can spend some time with them. So I was supportive, but in my head, I'm thinking, okay, sure, that's fine, but the wedding and the honeymoon is meant to be the easy part.
Yeah.
So then, you know, Nat spent time with her sister and her mum. I'm just waiting outside. And then it's, all right, action again. So from day 1, it's almost like, all right, there's a lot of behind the scenes heaviness that's happened, but the camera hasn't shown any of that. So now it's action, and I've just gone into, it's MAFS mode again.
Yeah.
Really, it felt like it was stop, start, stop, start, stop, start. So then afterwards, I'm like, Nat, I'm sitting next to Nat. Are you okay, Nat? Are you going to be okay? I'm here. And she even said, look, it's going to be really tough to be away from my family and obviously dealing with grief so sudden. And I really tried. I said, I understand. But in my head, I have to be honest where I'm thinking, okay, you know, you're obviously dealing with grief, which in my opinion, 6 weeks in, you haven't even begun dealing with grief. I remember my mum told me that. It takes a long time. And this is this is your old man. This is your dad. It's next level. But off we went and we did, the experiment. But that was day 1 where already I'm thinking, okay, we'll see how we go, sure.
Yeah. I guess given her emotions and what you were seeing behind the scenes too, were you actually shocked when she did write leave? Because you seemed shocked on the show, but then with the context of all that, or was it more the fact that she said that she didn't trust you or a few of the other things?
So there's a huge background of the whole trusting thing. But yeah, because again, I literally... When I'm watching, I thought the homesickness would be a massive part because it was a huge part. But on what you see on the screens, there's no mention of homesickness at all. We cut out days of our honeymoon because Nat was really struggling with homesickness. 2 weeks in, as you know, we were on for 3 weeks. How it works with MAFS is you get told the night before what time your call time is and what you're doing. But then 2 of those weeks, 2 out of 3 weeks, I've gotten a call saying, hey, Collins, just want to let you know, Nat's really struggling with homesickness. We're actually flying in her sister from Melbourne to be here. So for all those 3 or 4 days, you're just going to have to do your own thing. And then that was another week in a row. So for 2 weeks straight, this goes back to the stop-start. So I thought maybe behind the scenes or on camera, they would say, all right, Nat's now spending time with her sister.
Yeah.
We'll see how we go. So then I based all of it on homesickness, where I said to John, I can only get 2 or 3 days together with Nat because of homesickness. So then when John said, let's put the grief aside, that's when you saw all respect. I'm not questioning the experts or anything, but I'm sorry, I'm not putting grief aside. I cannot put grief aside because that's something that's as pure as you can get.
So the commitment ceremony was obviously very intense. John was giving it to you. Did you expect it to be that long, or how long were you actually on the couch for?
Mate, it was long. Like, it's all... Jeez, I can't even fully recall, but you're looking at almost an hour. It was long. It's crazy because, they never point the experts in the bad light. They're trying to help us. So as soon as I'm going, me and John are going, I'm thinking, mate, what are you doing?
Did he actually give you any good advice? Because that's what you kind of called him out on when you're I'm asking you. So did he come back with anything?
So I did notice that the other couples, they will sit down on the couch and, how you going? Experts would ask, yeah, we're fine. And it was very much that's good, but what are the negatives? You need, it's great. Okay, we're happy for you, but what are the negatives? That was the type of vibe I got. So when I did ask John, I said, John, I want advice. He did say, it's not so much about this is what you got to do, like step 1, step 2, step 3, which is probably what I wanted. Mm-hmm. But it was more so where he just said, mate, you got to put more investment and time into her and you got to show you care. So I thought I did, but it clearly wasn't. And that's something where I pride myself where I got to swallow it. But I know on screen I did come across as like a bit of an ignorant toss. And so...
Well, the big thing that came up at the commitment ceremony was the grief. And that was kind of the first time it was really used.
Yeah.
Not as an excuse, but it was just like, that's why you think that the relationship wasn't working.
Yeah.
In your piece to camera interviews, were you also mentioning that and they just weren't showing it? Or how did that work?
From the beginning, every Voxy I did. So again, honeymoon is when it really got intense. And that's when I'm saying in my Voxy, yeah, look, I'm really worried about Nat. I'm trying to help her with her homesickness, trying to support her. But anything of homesickness and grief, it was just not mentioned at all.
Wow.
And I thought they're going to base it all on that. So then watching it, I'm just looking like an absolute fool.
I wanted to ask you a question about the honeymoon. At some point, I think they asked you if you saw a future with Nat, and then you said not at all, but then you...
Oh, mate, I completely misread that question. It was... again, I don't help myself. I really don't help myself.
Wasn't a Freudian slip or anything like that.
No, oh man, well, so the question I remember they asked is, do you see a future with Nat? And I think, I don't know what, but I just literally just said, no, not at all. Because I'm thinking like, I think I interpreted the question was, have you made your mind up? Is this it? Are you ready? I was like, no, not at all. It's not even week 1 over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just absolutely botched that one. And then the chicken bit afterwards.
Yes.
Oh, it's so bad. And so again, the viewer's saying, who is this guy? Can he say a coherent sentence? Can he even express his feelings? Yeah, I didn't help myself there. I did not.
The chicken.
The chicken, yeah. There's this bit where Nat picks up the chicken. And I haven't said in my Voxy that, look, my chicken is usually in a red box with 3 letters. It was just, yeah.
I think it's interesting. I feel like you're one of the only participants that they've shown in the piece to cameras being asked a question and then the pause and then the answer.
Yes.
Like they were making a big point of only showing like an unedited version of your answers. So I don't know what the perspective was of why they were focusing that on you or what they wanted to prove. But watching the show, at what point did you realize, okay, they're cutting out, like this is the narrative that they're going towards and I don't think I'm going to come across well?
Yeah, so if I'm being totally honest, when I saw the scene where I struggled to open the door, where I couldn't open the door in the wedding episode,
oh, yes.
I thought, okay, okay, sure. But then the honeymoon, definitely.
Yeah.
Where I thought, okay. But at the same time, mate, I literally thought it was going to be completely different. Again, I was stressed enough. The homesickness and grief played a massive, massive factor in this whole experiment.
So when her sister's coming to visit, I'm assuming you guys aren't really seeing each other much or you're in different rooms or whatever it may be. Was there any contact through text or anything like that? Was it completely no contact on those days?
Well, that was the thing for me, and this is probably where I really have to fall on my sword and just understand that, okay, I completely botched it, where my headspace was every time I told Nat very early on, and this was off camera, I said, Nat, I understand you're really struggling with homesickness and grief. Just know, anytime you want to communicate with your family, do it. I will never be the reason why you can't. And on the honeymoon, it was. As soon as the cameras were done, bang, straight onto the phone, mum, sister, and checking in with her dog and her bird. Mm-hmm. I never wanted to be the reason. So for me, I'm thinking, that's me supporting. But at the same time, was I affectionate as good as I can be? Absolutely not. And watching it and learning, that's something I definitely could have done. I don't think they showed any of our honesty box.
No.
I even asked Nat, are you sure you're going to be okay to do this experiment? Because grief was already paramount. There were days where Nat and I were just sitting down and she's just crying, saying, I miss my dad. And I tried to support, but at the same time, I don't know what to do. I'm a 4-day stranger. I really don't know. So then I'll contact the producers. And Nat literally said, look, I feel like the closer we get, the less homesick I'll be. So it was good to hear, but it was a fair bit of pressure, if I'm being totally honest. Okay? It was pressure.
So from the honeymoon, we go to the first dinner party of the season. There was a narrative, I guess, that you left Natalie and you were life of the party talking to everyone else.
Yeah.
From your perspective, do you feel like you weren't supporting Natalie throughout the dinner party, or what was that like for you?
If I may even go a little bit before the dinner party, if that's cool.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
What happened for myself is I get the call, hey, Collins, just want to let you know, Nat's been really struggling with her homesickness and dealing with grief. We're actually going to fly in her sister from Melbourne to spend a few days. So then I said, okay, no worries, what do I do? So they just said, you just kind of do your own thing. So there were multiple days throughout our whole time where I'm just by myself doing my thing. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. Hey, Collins, just letting you know, Nat's still with her sister, doing fine. And then finally, maybe a couple of days beforehand, where we've got the dinner party soon, and then Nat and I come together. And again, we're catching up, doing our thing.
So is this the first time you've seen her in days at that point?
Days, for sure. She's rejuvenated. She's filled up the tank. She's spoken with her sister. She's had some time. You know, it's, hey, how you going? Let's catch up. We spent a bit of time together. I remember we went to a bit of Bondi. But I realized quickly on, the way Nat and I even socialize and just hang out is different. She's a massive video gamer. But yeah, I remember we're going for a bit of a walk and she just wanted to go home. And which I get, you know. And I remember there was that one time where I started to question, like, how can we... I was just really struggling to build anything. Mm-hmm. So then dinner party night comes and it's really tough, okay? So then I'm sure you've already heard it before, but the behind the scenes of MAFS is these huge tents and everyone's in the tents. The tents. When her and I were in the tent, Nat broke down. I can't do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. So then I call the producer and I say, Nat's broken down. So then they spend some time with her. And then afterwards, it's now dinner party time. And you see us both storm out. Mm-hmm. Now, that chat her and I had was quite different. Because what had happened was, and this is the truth, Nat has broken down again saying, Collins, I can't do this experiment anymore. I'm not myself. I miss my family. It's just not me. I have to go. So I'm sitting down, holding Nat's hand, saying, hey, look, it takes a lot of strength and courage to even come on this experiment. If you need to go, that's okay. And it was a really pure moment. It really, really was what I felt, where she didn't say at all, I'm going because I'm done with you. She just said, I'm just not me. Mm-hmm. And she very much felt it early on that she wasn't herself. So then we go back to the dinner party. I get the glass, ding, ding, ding. And it's really tough to watch where obviously it's been very much portrayed where Nat's just said, I'm done, but it's portrayed where she's done because of me. But then you saw me waffle afterwards and Lauren's like, mate, tough watch. And I did. I was absolutely waffling, but I just want to say my bye as well. So then we leave and then we do our final Voxy. And my Voxy was, again, I'm in a thought of, so that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And yeah, that's when I say, I got to go back to work. If there was an edit undo option, probably would have done undo on that one.
I mean, the optics don't look great, but also I feel like the moment when you're like, I have to go back to work, I feel like anyone can relate to that. No one wants to go back to work.
Yeah, and my mind was so much of, okay, the wedding, Nat's broken down. The honeymoon, there was so much hiccup. The dinner party, I was there for 10 minutes. every single part of my maths bit, there was some sort of, hiccup per se, you could say. So then I'm doing the Voxy just like, I don't believe it. Like, here we go. Do the way I show emotion because I'm a bit of a chirpy guy, does it come across fake and like you're putting on a scene? Yeah, at times, for sure.
How does it feel watching that back? And, you know, you said a few times that you can understand where the audience is coming from with like how you've been portrayed.
Yeah.
Does it make you feel self-conscious now in how you react to things in real life too? Like, are you kind of like, oh, if that's what I look like on TV reacting to something bad, is that what I'm doing in real life as well? Does it make you doubt yourself?
It does, but at the same time, I think probably the biggest one was that the audience was just saying, he's just not being real. So now I'm being real. This is me. This is me.
So then do you get the call a couple of days later saying, actually, Nat's staying, you get to continue with Confessions Week? Or how did that work that you then moved into Sky Suites together?
That night dinner party, I call an Uber, I pick up my stuff, and I sleep back in my Sydney home. MAFS is done. Yeah,
wow.
I'm back at home, literally.
No cameras, all done.
No cameras. It's a very much all the best.
Yeah.
Shake your hands. Shame.
Why did you want to come back? Did you see a future with Natalie, or you just
I
wanted to
had
see
no
the
idea.
experience?
Honestly, I just wanted to give it a proper go because I knew I had so much to learn. I didn't even see the experts once.
Yep.
I just really wanted to keep giving it because I know that there are things I could learn for sure. There are things I could have done better.
And so in that moment, you don't know you're going back to Natalie. You just know you're going back.
No, exactly. For sure. Yeah, I have no idea. So, yeah, it could have been a repart. I just don't know. So I'm at Sky Suites by myself and I'm doing the Voxy, and then you do see the knock and Nat walks in. And then again, Collins, the actor, the fraud fake. That was actually real. Sorry, because I didn't know who was going to happen, what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Nat walks in and then Nat says, I'm back. And I was really happy to see Nat. But again, since the dinner party is leaving, it's just been constantly in and out, up and down. Take 3 days away, come back for 2 days. Collins, Nat struggling. It was never a smooth sailing of Nat and I just spending undivided attention together. But that all context was wiped out and they just showed as if every day we were together. So then Nat's back and says, I'm here to give it another go. That's great. Let's do this again. Look, a huge part of MAFS is living together, doing Sky Suites together, spending some time. No. Oh, what do you mean? We're not doing Sky Suites together. Oh, okay, yeah, no worries. So what happened? She said, look, I just want to be in a different apartment together. No worries now. Because again, my mindset is anytime you need the space, I'll give it to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But looking back, I probably should have almost pushed it and said, no, I want to fight for this more and earlier. I think the biggest argument was I fought for it too late and it came off theatrical, where I get that. And that's on me.
I spoke to Natalie recently about why your relationship ended, and I want to hear your thoughts. But what she said was that she thought the grief overshadowed a lot of the relationship issues that you were both having, and the grief was used as an excuse to not say why you didn't have a connection. Would you agree with that, or why do you think things didn't work out?
I agree with the first line. I agree with the second, but I don't use the word excuse.
Okay.
It's a general factor. And Nat was going through it. I don't think she realized at times what it's like as a stranger of 1 week, 4 days, 2 weeks, to see this person not constantly, but consistently break down, saying they want to go home, they miss their dad. It's a really tough experience, and to the best of my ability, I was really supportive. I really don't know what else I could have done, but it is a huge factor.
And then after the experiment and filming wraps, what idea do you have of how the edit is going to turn out and how you're going to come across?
Oh, mate, it's a good question, and it's weird because anyone who knew me and, you know, they know I'm on MAFS, they all said, nah, no way you're going to be the villain. You know, you're a decent bloke. But watching that again, I can see how I am and what I do come across, an absolute knobhead.
So looking back at the whole experience now,
Yeah.
Are there regrets? Are there things you would do differently if you were to go back again?
So in terms of regrets going on the experiment, no, not at all. No regrets at all. I probably won't even say the word regret because at the time I thought I was doing what I knew to the best of my ability. Watching it now, I've learned a lot for sure. I sucked. In so many departments, I sucked. And it's really tough to watch Nat go through that. I am very sorry I couldn't be the guy that she wanted and needed. But even watching the dinner party that night, I sent her a text just saying, hey, Nat, I watched the dinner party. It was a tough watch, but I just want to apologize for sure and all the best type of thing.
Did you hear back from her?
No, I didn't, which, fair.
What's your love life looking like now? Are you dating?
Well, I've never not dated. You know how some people are like, I'm off the market, I'm on the market. No. Yeah. I'm doing my thing. It's just I haven't met the one. Okay. Yeah, for sure.
Are you worried about, I guess, your edit and the impact it could have on your dating life?
No.
After the show?
No, because I'd like to think your partner sees you for who you are. So, yeah, if someone's looking at me saying I'm basing you off a TV show, well, then that's the clarity I need.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
No.
So, no, not at all.
Would you do MAFS again, knowing what you know now?
Mate, that's a question and a half. Would I do MAFS again? Probably. Because there would be too much curiosity for me to think they found someone else. Who is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who is it?
What's on the vision board now? Do we want to continue with reality TV, podcast, OnlyFans? What's next?
No, my dick's too small for OnlyFans, mate. Yeah. Trust. Honestly. So, yeah, there's no OnlyFans, mate.
Okay.
Do you have any final words for Married at First Sight fans as they watch everyone's journeys play out on our screens?
Yeah, look, to the MAFS fans, again, you guys suck. You are rude. You are demeaning. You have a heart. But, no, you guys, the audience keeps it real. And I appreciate what they've said. I took a beating, but it all made sense. And watching it back, it was confronting, but I've learned a lot. Going forward, though, mate, buckle up. My God, buckle up. Get 2 buckles, 3 buckles. The dinner party's coming up.
Very excited to see how the rest of the season unfolds and see what happens when you come back for a reunion.
Oh, mate. God, yeah, reunion time for sure.
Thank you so much for just joining us and unpacking it all today, Collins.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Behind the Edit is brought to you by Yahoo Australia, hosted by Lachlan, Guertin and Tahlia Pritchard. Produced by Caitie Browne. Social production by Alexa Tubertini. Yahoo Australia would like to acknowledge the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, the traditional owners of the land on which this podcast was recorded, and pay our respects to elders past and present.